Hello, Desi Stars! Cuddle up and get ready for a wonderful bedtime story with me. If you're new to the Desi Stars family, welcome! And please subscribe because my library is full of books I'd love to read to you. Today, we're going to read The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there were 4 furry siblings, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and the mischievous Peter. They all lived in a cozy burrow under a giant tree. One sunny morning, their mom, Mrs. Rabbit, had some errands to run. "Listen up, my little bunnies," she said. "You can hop around the fields or explore the lane, but remember, stay far away from Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had a horrible accident at the hands of the McGregors." "Off you go, but no funny business. I'll be back soon," Mrs. Rabbit declared, grabbing her basket and umbrella. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, being good little bunnies, decided to gather blackberries down the lane. However, Peter, with a twinkle in his eye, couldn't resist the allure of Mr. McGregor's garden and sneaked under the gate. Oh, Peter. Once he was in the garden, he nibbled on lettuce, French beans, and radishes. And then, feeling a bit queasy from eating so much, he set out on a quest for parsley. But right at the end of a cucumber patch, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting cabbage, but as soon as he saw Peter, he jumped up and ran after him, waving a rake and calling out,
"Stop, thief!"
Panic-stricken, Peter dashed all around the garden, forgetting how to get back to the gate. During his mad dash, he lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. Barefoot and zooming on all fours, Peter raced like a turbocharged bunny. He was going so fast, I think he could have escaped scot-free if he hadn't crashed into a gooseberry net, getting snagged by the giant buttons on his jacket. Peter thought he was done for and started shedding tears. But guess what? Some chirpy sparrows heard his sniffling spectacle and swooped in, cheering him on to give it his all to escape from there. Mr. McGregor caught up, with a screen trap in hand, thinking he could catch Peter like a sneaky magician. But Peter wiggled and wriggled right out of his jacket, leaving it behind and escaping just in the nick of time. Mr. McGregor did not give up and kept running after this bunny. Peter's wild chase took him into a tool shed, where he dove into a can, discovering too late that it was filled with water. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed. He began to turn over every flower pot carefully, looking under each one. Suddenly, Peter sneezed. Achoo! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. He tried to stomp on Peter with his boot, but Peter quickly jumped out of a window, knocking over 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor to jump through too, and he was tired of running after Peter, so he went back to his garden work. Peter plopped down for a break, huffing and puffing and soaking wet from that not-so-comfy can. He was scared and clueless about where to hop next. He found a door in the wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a full-bellied little rabbit to squeeze underneath. Just then, a speedy mouse zoomed around, carrying peas and beans for her family in the woods. Excitedly, Peter asked for directions to the gate. But the mouse had a massive pea in her mouth, making talking tricky. All she could manage was a head shake. Peter felt helpless and began to cry again. Peter tried to find his way to the gate, but became more and more lost. He started to head back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, and quite close to him, he heard the noise of a rake. Scratch, 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 scratch. Frightened but curious, he peeked over a wheelbarrow. It was Mr. McGregor, busy as a bee, raking onions with his back turned to Peter. And just past him was the gate! Quietly, Peter tiptoed down from the wheelbarrow and then sprinted as fast as a bunny can go along a straight path behind some strawberry bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but by this time Peter did not care, as he was filled with determination to finally get out of there. With a swift slide under the gate, he reached the safety of the woods outside the garden. Phew, what a wild ride! Mr. McGregor, determined to scare off any intruders, hung Peter's little jacket and shoes on a stick to create a makeshift scarecrow. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him until he got home to that big giant tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. I'm sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. So his mother gave him a dose of medicine and tucked him into bed. But fear not, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail enjoyed a delightful supper of bread, milk, and blackberries, marking the end of this adventurous tale. The end. If you enjoyed this book, you too can have your own copy. Just use the link in my description box below to know where you can get it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a good friend. I just can't wait to read to you again. Until next time, Desi Stars.